A sound has three characteristics: loudness, pitch, and quality, which is also known as timbre. In other words, sounds are recognized by three characteristics. Two musical sounds may differ from one another in one or more of these characteristics. Let us now discuss all these characteristics of sound in details, uh, one by one. Sounds are produced by vibrating objects. If less energy is supplied to an object by hitting it lightly or by stretching it lightly, then the object vibrates with a smaller amplitude and produces a faint sound or a feeble sound. On the other hand, if more energy is supplied to the object by hitting it more strongly or by stretching it more strongly, then the object will vibrate with a greater amplitude and produce a louder sound. The loudness of sound is a measure of the sound energy reaching the ear per second. Greater the sound energy reaching our ears per second, louder the sound would appear to be. The loudness of sound depends on the amplitude of sound waves. If the sound waves have a small amplitude, then the sound will be faint or soft. On the other hand, if the sound waves have a large amplitude, then the sound will be loud. Let us look at the figures. It will show that a sound wave is having a small amplitude, so the sound will be faint. Again, the next figure that we see over here, we see that the sound wave of large amplitude, so the sound will be quite loud. In fact, greater the amplitude of sound waves, louder the sound will be. Since the amplitude of a sound wave is equal to the amplitude of vibrations of the source which produces the sound wave, we can also say that the loudness of sound depends on amplitude of vibration of the source producing the sound waves. This point will become more clear from the example that I'm going to cite now. When we strike a table lightly, then due to less energy supplied, the tabletop vibrates with a small amplitude and hence a faint sound is produced. If, however, we hit the table hard, then due to greater energy supplied, the tabletop vibrates with a large amplitude and hence produces a loud sound. Thus, the amplitude of sound waves depends on the force with which the object is made to vibrate. The loudness of sound is measured in a unit called decibel, and it is written as small d and a capital B, dB. The softest sound which human can hear is said to have a loudness of 0 decibel. The loudness of sound of people talking quietly is about 65 decibel. The loudness of sound in a very noisy factory is about 100 decibel. And the sound of a jet aircraft 50 meters away is said to have a loudness of around 130 decibel. We can distinguish between a man's voice and a woman's voice of the same loudness even without seeing them. This is because a man's voice and a woman's voice differ in pitch. A man's voice is flat, having a low pitch, whereas a woman's voice is shrill, having a high pitch. We can now say that pitch is that characteristic of sound by which we can distinguish between different sounds of the same loudness. The pitch of a sound depends on the frequency of vibration. So what does pitch depends on? Frequency. Actually, the pitch of a sound is directly proportional to its frequency. Sounds of low frequency are said to have low pitch, whereas sounds of high frequency are said to have high pitch. For example, a sound of low frequency of say 100 Hz will have a low pitch, whereas a sound of high frequency of 1000 Hz will have a high pitch. Please have a look with the figures given on the slide. It shows that sound wave of low frequency and hence low pitch. Again, what we find over here is greater the frequency of a sound, the higher will be pitch. We must note over here that both the sound waves that are shown in the figures have the same amplitude and hence they have the same loudness. The only thing that they differ in is their pitch. Since the frequency of a sound wave is equal to the frequency of vibration of the source which produces the sound wave, faster the vibrations of sound producing source, the higher is the frequency and higher is the pitch. The point will become more clearer when we take up a new discussion. Let us take a bicycle. We put a bicycle on its stand so that its rear wheel, the back wheel is free to rotate. We rotate the bicycle wheels by using pedals and touch its spokes with the edge of a cardboard piece. I believe almost all of us have done this. We, we will hear a sound as the cardboard touches the spokes after spokes. As we go on increasing the speed of rotation of the wheel, the shrillness of sound produced increases or the pitch of sound increases. This observation can be explained as follows. The cardboard, the cardboard piece actually is made to vibrate by the spokes of the bicycle wheel, and the frequency of vibration depends on the speed of rotation of the wheel. When the wheel is rotated rapidly, the frequency of vibration of cardboard pieces increases, due to which the pitch of the sound produced also increases. From this experiment, we can conclude that the pitch of the sound is determined by the frequency of vibration of the object which produces the sound. We can distinguish between the sounds or notes produced by a flute and a violin even without seeing these instruments. This is because the sound produced by a flute and a violin differ in quality or timbre. It is the difference in the quality of sound which enables us to tell at once which instrument is being played, the musical sound or a musical note. We can now easily say that quality or timbre is that characteristic of musical sound which enables us to distinguish between the sounds of same pitch and loudness produced by different musical instruments and different singers. The quality or timbre of a musical sound depends on the shape of sound wave, which we call as waveform. The quality or timbre of sound waves varies from one musical instrument to another musical instrument. The difference in the quality of the two musical sounds produced by two musical instruments is due to the difference in the shape of the sound waves produced by them. Have a look on the slide. I have actually shown two different waveforms over here. The sound wave produced when the same musical note is being played by violin and flute. Both these sound waves have the same pitch and loudness but different shapes and hence different quality or different timbre. It should be clear by now that the sound or notes produced by different musical instruments like flute, violin, piano, harmonium, trumpet can be distinguished from one another by their quality or timbre, even if they are of the same pitch and loudness. Similarly, the sounds or notes produced by different singers such as Mohammad Rafi, Kishore Kumar, Kumar Shanu, Udit Narayan, the Tunak Tunak Tu, Daler Mehendi, Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhosle, Ila Arun, Usha Attu, and Sunidhi Chauhan can be distinguished from one another on the basis of their quality or timbre. We can even recognize a person's voice even without seeing him, and that is a unique quality that we have is basically based on the quality or timbre of his voice. The musical sounds have complex waveforms, which we call wave shapes, because they consist of a fundamental frequency mixed with different higher frequency. So we can also say that the quality or timbre of a musical sound depends on the mixture of frequencies present in it. We'll study about these details, the waveforms and all, in the higher classes. The ears are the sense organs which help us in hearing sound. We will now try to describe the construction and working of a human ear. A highly simplified human ear is shown here. The ear consists of three compartments: the outer ear, middle ear, and the inner ear. Please have a look with the diagram that is given on the slide. The part of ear which we see outside the head is called outer ear. The outer ear consists of a broad part called pinna and about 2 to 3 centimeters long passage called ear canal. At the end of the ear canal is a thin, elastic, and circular membrane called eardrum. The eardrum is also called tympanum. The outer ear contains air. The middle ear contains three small and delicate bones called hammer, anvil, and stirrup. These ear bones are linked to one another. One end of the bone, called hammer, is touching the eardrum, and the other end is connected to the second bone called anvil. The other end of anvil is connected to the third bone called stirrup. They are all interconnected. And the free end of stirrup is held against the membrane over the oval window of inner ear. The middle ear also contains ear. The lower part of the middle ear has a narrow tube called eustachian tube going to the throat. Eustachian tube connects the middle ear to throat and ensures that the pressure inside the middle ear is the same as that on the outside. The inner ear has a coiled tube called cochlea. One side of cochlea is connected to the middle ear through the elastic membrane over the oval window. The cochlea is filled with a liquid. The liquid present in cochlea contains nerve cells which are sensitive to sound. The other side of the cochlea is connected to the auditory nerve which goes to the brain. The sound waves coming from a sound producing body are collected by the pinna of outer ear. These sound waves pass through the ear canal and fall on the eardrum. Sound waves consist of compressions, which are high pressure region, and rarefaction, which are low pressure regions. When the compression of sound waves strikes the eardrum, the pressure on the outside of the eardrum increases and pushes the eardrum inwards. And when the rarefaction of sound waves falls on the eardrum, the pressure on the outside of the eardrum decreases and it moves outward. Thus, when the sound waves fall on the eardrum, the eardrum starts vibrating back and forth rapidly. The vibrating eardrum causes a small bone hammer to vibrate. As we have discussed, the hammer is in the middle part. From hammer, vibrations are passed onto the second bone anvil and finally to the third bone stirrup. The vibrating stirrup strikes on the membrane of the oval window and passes its vibration to the liquid in the cochlea. Due to this, the liquid in the cochlea begins to vibrate. The vibrating liquid of cochlea sets up electrical impulses in the nerve cells which are present in it. These electrical impulses are carried by auditory nerve to the brain. The brain interprets these electrical signals and uh, you know uh, it gives us a sensation of hearing. Now, we have just seen that a set of three bones passes on sound vibration from the eardrum to the liquid in cochlea. Actually, the three ear bones, hammer, anvil, and stirrup, act as a system of levers and amplify the vibration of eardrum by more than 20 times. Thus, the function of the three tiny bones in the middle ear is to increase the strength of vibration coming from the eardrum before passing, because the nerve cells in the cochlea responds only to the strong vibrations.